might be the fix for the short term. But the tire and the duality of it. But I'd prefer to kind of get, maybe more first principle thinking to how we can get there without adding that element, so we don't get into something we can't back our way out of with respect to what you just said, whether it be the playoffs or some other unforeseen scenario. So, watching short track racing like that kind of reminds you of, oh, okay, here, this is solvable without going to these other measures. So I thought that was good.
Are competition-related matters like the horsepower topic or narrowing the width of the tire, has that been part of all of the charter negotiations in terms of what you guys are willing to spend on?
Not particularly. I mean, the charter agreements have a number of provisions that prevent significant rules changes to the car in the middle of the season. I suspect to some degree that will remain, but they do not have provisions to keep, changes to be made before the season. There's a grace period. Is it somewhere around 12 to 36 month window? Maybe it's 18. I can't remember specifically, but so there is windows for NASCAR to make changes of significant nature to do what they need to do to make the sport move forward, and that are unrelated to the RTA by the nature of how it's governed. That said, I'm not aware of an idea that's on the table today that we would all, feel highly confident in to address those issues.
Do you feel any closer? Do you feel any closer to getting that agreement done, or is that still a gap?
It's yeah, it's a long part. Ultimately, it doesn't need to be signed till we unload the haulers in Daytona. And although I suspect it'll be signed before then, in fact, I'm very confident it'll be signed before then, I'm very hesitant, Dustin, to give a date or time of when.
Is your confidence any different from 4 months ago, 3 months ago?
Not necessarily, no. I was confident then it would get done before Daytona. I think these things tend to wait to get done until they have to get done because they're contentious. And like anything, pick a chore at your house. If it's one you really don't want to get done, you probably don't do it first, right? And this is one that we all want to get done, but it's not a fun thing to get done. And so I suspect it'll get done when it has to get done rather than when it's to get done, which is now.
If you look at the stats, and obviously sports aren't played on that, but the stats don't look good for you on a road course, and that this would almost be a throwaway race. How do you have to look at this, or how do you view this a weekend like this? Because, again, I know you've come close to winning in the past, but in the last.
Yeah, no, I need to put results up, and I'm very cognizant of that on the road courses. That's been a challenge for me. I've had a couple of really fast race cars on the road courses that I didn't catch with in 22 particularly. 2023 and 24, we really haven't had the speed to do anything with it. Chris has done an excellent job of surviving races and kind of getting that 9th to 10th place finish, where I haven't done an excellent job of surviving races and getting those, strong final sector or final segment of the race results. So that's a big challenge for us, is to put the whole race together. It falls, for the most part, in my lap, and I'm very cognizant of that, and just continue to put the effort in, and try to grow where I can to get that result.
Brad, we've seen a
help this weekend, having him in the car and understanding what he can bring to the Ford camp as a whole.
Yeah, Joey is kind of our reserve driver for road courses across the entire Ford camp. And in that regard, he does some of the testing for us. I think he tested Sonoma for the Ford camp in the Wheels Force car, and I imagine if we have any more road course tests, that he'll be the guy for those. That said, it's important for him to race the car from time to time, to be able to correlate, what matters and what doesn't matter. He's kind of the de facto simulation driver as well. And, just having him here yesterday and walking the track and being able to say, the simulator's way off in this corner, throw away all the stuff we studied for that, but it's dead on in this corner, and you can trust that data here. And, those are really valuable things to us, let alone the idea that he's going to get in one of our cars for one of our, key partners with Blue Forge and Build Submarines, and hopefully have a really strong day and a chance to win. So I think he affords us a great opportunity to effectively re-baseline where we stand as an organization with, a really proven talent. The guy's won Le Mans, he's won all kinds of other big sports car races, and he understands what it takes.
After last week's ending, do you think there needs to be any adjustments to the overtime rules? And does being an owner and potentially being on the hook for any damages play into that at all?
I don't know. I don't particularly care to see what I saw last week at Nashville. I don't know if that's certainly should not be the norm. But every once in a while, things like that are going to happen. And when they do, you don't have to like them, but you can kind of say, chalk that up to some kind of variability or lottery circumstance. But if that started to become the norm for our sport, I would say certainly we would need to address it. But seeing that happen once is not enough in my mind for a reaction.
When you broke in with feuding with Carl a little bit, is there a part of you that kind of empathizes or sympathizes with what Carson's going through right now, and that he's trying to establish, what he will and will not take, maybe pushes it too far? Like, can you relate to that a little bit?
Yes and no. I mean, certainly understand how hard it is to break through in the Cup Series, and that desire to make an immediate impact. You have to be careful, in my experience, I haven't gone through it, to not allow that to be a negative to you, right? To almost try too hard. And it's a good and bad thing to try too hard sometimes. You certainly prefer someone who tries too hard for someone who doesn't try at all. But there's certainly a sweet spot there that I think each driver to some degree has to find on their own. And there's a strong argument to be made that he's on the other side of that and not living in that sweet spot. And I hope for his own sake he can find that spot. And I have some empathy for that, and with respect to, I always felt like I needed to flirt with kind of that border of being too aggressive, and that served me well. And sometimes I would look back and say, I probably might have got just a touch too far on the line or over the line. So I think you got to find that spot and decide where it is and live comfortably there.
This is Custom Patch Hats. But what makes us custom? Well, that actually begins with you. We're just bringing your unique vision to life. No knockoffs, no lookalikes. Your design is one of a kind. We know hats, we know design, and we know quality. The proof? It's in our production. Hand-stitched with precision and care, with brands you know and trust. A one-of-a-kind patch deserves a one-of-a-kind treatment, all the way to your doorstep. It's how we keep it custom.
Jared Haas with Frontstretch.com. Come back soon for more great racing videos. And if you like us, make sure to hit that subscribe button.